You slept 8 hours last night, a full 8 hours, and you woke up this morning feeling like you'd been hit by a truck, foggy, heavy, already exhausted, reaching for coffee before your eyes are even fully open. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a question you've never quite been able to answer. If I'm sleeping enough, why am I still this tired? That question has a real answer, and it's not what most people expect. The problem isn't the amount of sleep you're getting. It's what you're doing in the hour before you close your eyes. 4 specific mistakes that don't just affect your sleep quality. They turn your night into an 8-hour stress response. You're not resting. You're marinating your brain in cortisol for 8 hours and then wondering why you wake up depleted. I'm going to walk you through all 4 of these mistakes today, and for each one, I'll give you the exact replacement habit. Most of them take under 2 minutes. But I need you to stay until mistake 4, because that's the one most people never identify, and it's often the biggest driver of that morning fog. If you fix the other 3 and miss this one, you'll still be waking up exhausted. Let's start with something most people fundamentally misunderstand about sleep. Sleep is not a passive process. It's not your brain switching off. Sleep, particularly the deep restorative stages, is one of the most metabolically active states your brain enters. It's clearing waste, consolidating memory, regulating hormones, and repairing tissue. But here's the critical part. The quality of that deep sleep is almost entirely determined by the neurochemical state your brain is in when you fall asleep. If you fall asleep with elevated cortisol, the stress hormone, your brain spends the night trying to recover from a stress response instead of doing the repair work it needs to do. You sleep, but you don't restore. You wake up with the feeling of having slept, but not recovered, because biologically, you didn't. The sleep was there, the restoration wasn't. The last 60 minutes before sleep are neurologically the most important 60 minutes of your entire day. Not because of what you're consciously thinking about, but because of what your brain is encoding as its baseline state for the night. Those 60 minutes are the difference between restorative sleep and maintenance sleep, and most people spend them doing things that guarantee the wrong outcome. Here are the 4 mistakes. Let's go through them one by one. Mistake 1 of 4. The dopamine trap. Why bedtime scrolling is destroying your sleep from the inside out. You've had a long day. You feel drained, overstimulated, and vaguely stressed. So you lie down, pick up your phone, and scroll. You tell yourself it's relaxing. It feels like winding down. But what's actually happening in your brain is almost the opposite of winding down. Short-form video content, Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, is engineered to deliver the highest dopamine hit-to-second ratio of any content that exists. Every swipe is a new reward. Every unexpected moment of novelty is a dopamine spike. And when you flood your brain with dopamine at 11 p.m., you are doing something neurologically specific and damaging. You are preventing your brain from entering the low-stimulation theta state it needs to transition into deep restorative sleep. Your brain cannot go from maximum dopamine stimulation to deep delta sleep. The chemistry doesn't allow it. You might fall asleep, but your brain skips or shortens the deep stages. And those deep stages are where the real restoration happens. Without them, 8 hours produces the same result as 5. You wake up feeling like nothing happened. The fix: under 30 seconds. Put your phone in another room, or at minimum, across the room, not within arm's reach. Then, immediately before getting into bed, do 1 physiological sigh, 2 short inhales through the nose, followed by 1 long exhale through the mouth. This specific breathing pattern activates the parasympathetic nervous system faster than standard deep breathing. It sends a neurological signal that tells your brain the reward-seeking part of the day is over. We are no longer scanning for stimulation. We are safe to downshift. That 1 breath, done immediately after separating from the phone, can reduce the time it takes your brain to reach restorative sleep stages by a meaningful margin. It sounds impossibly simple, but the mechanism is real and the neuroscience is consistent. Mistake 2 of 4. The stress debt spiral. Why your brain chooses 11 p.m. to process everything that went wrong today. You've been busy all day. You pushed through the stress, managed the pressure, kept moving, and then you lie down in the dark with nothing to do. And your brain goes, okay, now let's process all of that. The email you should have sent. The thing your colleague said that didn't sit right. The financial anxiety you didn't have time to feel at 2 p.m. The thing you snapped at someone about that you still feel guilty for. This is not a personal failing. This is neurobiology. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for processing complex emotion and unresolved situations, has been in suppression mode all day while you were busy functioning. The moment you lie still in the dark, it activates. And it does not stop until either you fall asleep or it decides the emotional file is resolved, which, in a rumination spiral, never happens. What you're doing when you overthink at night is training your brain's threat detection system to activate specifically in the sleep environment. Over time, your brain starts associating the bedroom with alertness, with unfinished business, with anxiety. The bed becomes a trigger for the stress response instead of a trigger for rest. The fix? 10 seconds. Keep a notepad beside your bed, not your phone, a physical notepad. When a thought arrives during the night that feels unresolved, write it down in one sentence and close the pad. The act of writing transfers the thought from active working memory to external storage. Your brain's filing system registers it as captured. The loop closes. The obsessive holding loosens. You're not solving the problem. You're telling your brain it doesn't need to hold the problem in active processing anymore because it's been recorded. Research on this specific mechanism, known as the Zeigarnik effect, consistently shows that the act of writing down an unfinished task reduces intrusive thinking about it significantly, often immediately. Mistake 3 of 4. The missing serotonin prime. Why you can't fix your morning mood in the morning. If you wake up feeling heavy, irritable, or emotionally flat, and you feel this way even after adequate sleep, you're likely experiencing a serotonin deficit. And the thing almost nobody tells you is this: you cannot fix a serotonin problem in the morning. By the time you wake up feeling that way, the chemistry has already run its course. The window to address it was the night before. Serotonin is not just a mood chemical. It's the precursor to melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep cycle. When your serotonin is low at night, your melatonin production is compromised, your sleep architecture is disrupted, and you wake up not just tired, but emotionally depleted. The fix? 8 seconds. 8 seconds before you close your eyes, not a minute before, not at some earlier point in the routine. You recall a single, specific memory in which you felt genuinely competent. A real moment. Not an affirmation, not an imagined future. Something that actually happened. You handled something well. You made someone laugh. You finished something difficult. You said the right thing. Hold that memory in full sensory detail for 8 seconds. Let it land in your body, not just your head. This uses the principle of state-dependent memory encoding. The emotional state your brain is in at the moment of sleep onset is the state it consolidates overnight. You are giving your brain a win as its last conscious data point. This primes serotonin pathways, reduces overnight cortisol, and creates the neurological conditions for waking up with a baseline mood that is genuinely warmer than it would have been otherwise. Mistake 4 of 4. The one I told you to wait for. The adrenaline hangover. The silent overnight recovery drain most people never identify. This is the mistake that's hardest to catch because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like you're doing something reasonable, even healthy. You watched an intense thriller before bed. You had a quick but slightly heated exchange with your partner. You did some late-night productive work, catching up on emails, thinking through a problem. Or maybe you ate late, had a heavy snack, or had a drink to wind down. All of these have one thing in common. They activate your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight branch, at a time when your body needs to hand control to the parasympathetic branch. And once the sympathetic system is activated, adrenaline and cortisol have a half-life. They don't stop when you decide to stop. They metabolize over 2 to 4 hours. Which means if you trigger an adrenaline response at 11 p.m. and you fall asleep at midnight, your body spends the first 2 to 3 hours of sleep clearing that hormonal residue instead of entering deep restoration. You're burning your recovery window on a hangover you didn't know you created. The fix. 2 minutes. 2 hours before sleep. Not right before bed, 2 hours before. Begin what I call a deliberate deactivation. This means no content that requires emotional resolution. Thrillers, news, arguments, anything that creates an open loop your brain will try to close. No heavy eating. No work that involves problem-solving or decision-making. Instead, low stimulation, low stakes, low resolution content. A book you read slowly. Dim lighting. Warm water. Quiet. And at the 30-minute mark before sleep, do a 2-minute breathing sequence. 4 counts in, hold 4, 6 counts out, repeated 5 times. This specific ratio of extended exhale activates the vagus nerve and measurably drops cortisol. You are physically metabolizing the stress hormones before you get into bed, rather than asking your sleeping body to do it for you. The 5-year effect. Why this compounds into something much bigger than better sleep. Here is what changes when you fix these 4 mistakes consistently over time. You don't just sleep better, you wake up differently. Not more energized in some generic motivational sense, but actually different in your baseline emotional state. The heavy, foggy, behind before you've started feeling that has been your morning for years begins to lift. Not because your life got easier, because your brain is no longer starting each day recovering from its own chemistry. And here's what the neuroscience says about the compounding effect of this. Every night of restorative sleep produces measurably better emotional regulation the following day. Better emotional regulation means better decisions. Better decisions mean better outcomes. Better outcomes mean less chronic stress. Less chronic stress means better sleep the following night. The cycle either runs against you or for you, and the direction it runs is determined almost entirely by what you do in that last hour before you close your eyes. 5 years of fixing mistake 1. Your dopamine system has recalibrated to find deeper reward in real-world experience rather than requiring constant digital stimulation. 5 years of fixing mistake 2. Your brain no longer associates the bedroom with unresolved anxiety. It associates it with safety and rest. 5 years of fixing mistake 3. Your serotonin baseline has risen to a point where the emotional heaviness you used to accept as normal is genuinely gone. 5 years of fixing mistake 4. Your nervous system is no longer chronically overtaxed, and the calm under pressure quality that used to seem like a personality trait of certain lucky people, that's just who you are now. This isn't motivational language. This is neuroplasticity, the measurable, documented, peer-reviewed capacity of the brain to change its own structure based on what you do repeatedly. The 4 fixes we talked about today are small enough to start tonight, and significant enough to change the kind of person you're waking up as, consistently, permanently, starting now. Tonight, start with just 1 fix. Pick the mistake you recognized most in yourself, the one where you thought, that's definitely me. Do the fix for that 1 mistake tonight, just tonight. If your morning tomorrow feels even slightly different, drop "sleep" in the comments and tell me which mistake you fixed. I read them, and someone else scrolling the comments at 11 p.m. tonight might need to see exactly that. Share this with someone you know who says they sleep enough but always wakes up tired. They've been told it's their mattress, their diet, their stress levels. It's probably one of these 4 mistakes. Send this to them. It might be the first explanation that actually fits.